It sounds like anxiety. She was 48. She'd gone in because her heart was racing at 3 o'clock in the morning and she was waking up like all the way soaked through. And she was so tired by 4 o'clock in the afternoon that she'd sit in her car in the parking lot before she could face going back inside. 14 minutes. That's how long her appointment with her doctor was. She timed it. And she was sitting trying to figure out what had just happened. She had left the office with a prescription and a name for it.
Welcome to the True Wellness Podcast with Dr. Z, where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. Z, and each week I will bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Now, let's get started.
If you've been listening to this show, you've heard me talk about women who get told nothing is wrong. Every test is normal. Everything is fine. You've heard me say it over and over again. This one's different. And honestly, it's worse. This is about the women who did get an answer, who got a name and a treatment and a follow-up appointment, who did everything right with the information they were handed, and the information that they were handed was wrong. Over the next 25 minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 labels: anxiety, depression, insomnia, okay, health anxiety, and the last one, which it isn't even a diagnosis. This is just life, isn't it? So for each one, I'm going to do 2 things for you. I'm going to say what believing it costs her. And then I'm going to ask the question nobody in the 14-minute doctor appointment that she had actually asked her. See, there's something all 5 of these have in common. This woman she didn't see it for 6 years. I, in fact, didn't see it the first time I heard her story. And I'll show you at the end of this episode. It won't mean anything until we've gone through all 5, okay? So let's start with anxiety. It sounds like anxiety. That's what she was told. Let's look at what she actually reported because it matters, okay? Her heart was racing at 3 a.m. She was waking up drenched. A feeling that she described as like being plugged into a wall socket, wired, exhausted at the same time. Her hands sometimes were trembling. And she had this dread of the mornings when they arrived because she had all her thoughts were about dread. Okay. Now, every one of those things on that list are for anxiety. Okay. Every single one. The provider wasn't careless. Given 14 minutes and that list, anxiety was a reasonable place to land. But notice what that list also is. It's a list of things a body does when it's running an alarm, right? Racing heart, sweating, tremor, early waking, dread. That's a stress response. That's adrenaline and cortisol doing exactly what they're built to do. And a stress response is a response. It's the body reacting to something. Now, what believing it cost her? She started treating the alarm. And that's the cost. And it's enormous because she learned techniques for managing her racing heart. She got something to take the edge off, right? Just a little pill to take the edge off. She was told to reduce her stress. She was told to cut back at work, which, by the way, cost her a promotion. And she still was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. 4 years of that, 4 years of turning down the volume on an alarm system that her body was giving her. Nobody went in to look for the fire, for the root cause. And I mean, the question that nobody asked, here it is. And honestly, it's not complicated. The question is, what is her body responding to? Not what do we call this feeling? Not how do we make this feeling smaller? Just something set this off. Bodies don't run an alarm at 3 a.m. for no reason. What is it reacting to? Nobody asked for 4 years. Not one person asked what that alarm was about. And then the tiredness got worse. And so she went back. What I think that we're looking at here, they told her, is depression. By this point, she was different. She knew it. Flat. Nothing landed. Things that she used to love felt like they were administrative. She was sleeping badly. She was tired in a way that like sleep didn't even help her respond to that tiredness. She stopped calling her sister back. And I want to say something carefully here because this is where people get careless, and I don't want to do that. That was an accurate description. Okay, she was depressed. The word genuinely described what was happening in her life. But watch the move that happened next because it's so quick you can miss it. An accurate description of how she felt got handed back to her as the reason she felt it. You're depressed. Okay, true. Then without anybody quietly saying it, it became, and that's why you're exhausted. That's why you can't think. That's why you ache. And that's a different claim entirely. That's cause. Okay. Nobody demonstrated cause. Nobody even went looking for it. And believing that cost her. It cost her the thread. Because if depression is the cause, then everything else on the list becomes a symptom of it. And symptoms of a known cause don't get investigated. The exhaustion is explained. The brain fog is explained. The aching is explained. Every new thing her body did got absorbed into a diagnosis that she already had. She'd mention something and she'd watch it get filed under a heading instead of it being examined. And there's a second cost, quieter, maybe worse, definitely worse. She started to believe that she was the problem. Not something happening in her body, but her character, her failure to cope. She apologized so much during that period of time for everything. She'd bring something up and then say, sorry, I know I'm always going on about this, right? The question nobody asked, is the mood the cause here? Or is it the thing something else is producing? Because those look identical from the outside and they lead to completely different investigations. Now, I'm not saying that antidepressants are wrong. For a lot of people, they might be right. And if you're on one, this podcast, of course, is not a reason to stop. Don't stop taking your medications ever without the advice of your prescribing provider. But, and please hear that clearly, okay? I'm saying the question of why now? Why this body? Why at 48? Why did that question never get asked? And a name, depression, is not an answer to that question. Now, she still wasn't sleeping, so that became the next thing. Let's talk about your sleep hygiene, okay? She got the handout. You know the one. No screens after 9, cool, dark room, no caffeine afternoon, consistent bedtime, get up if you can't sleep, don't nap. I mean, I've even given that sleep hygiene handout out to my own clients. And you see, she did all of it. She did it the way she'd done every diet, which is to say properly, right? She moved the TV out of her bedroom. She brought blackout curtains. She quit coffee entirely for 5 months. And she still woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So here's what that handout did to her. And I don't think anybody handing it out understands that. It basically took a medical issue, right? A physical issue, and turned it into a behavior problem. So before that, the handout, she had a body that was waking her up at 3 a.m. for unknown reasons. After the handout, she now had a compliance problem. There was a way to correct sleep. She had it in writing and it wasn't working, which left exactly one other conclusion available. She must be doing something wrong. And here's what believing it cost her. Again, she stopped reporting it to her doctor. That's what it cost. She'd done the protocol, so bringing it up again just meant admitting that she had failed at the protocol. So she stopped mentioning the 3 a.m. waking. It disappeared from her chart. 6 years of a symptom that never made it back into her record because she was too embarrassed to raise it again. And I want to name what that handout has in common with everything in the last episode, right? 12 diets, 100 miles a week, and now sleep hygiene. Every single one of them was an instruction to execute, handed to a woman who was already executing things perfectly. The problem was not her execution. And again, the question nobody asked, why is this body, why is her body waking at 3 o'clock in the morning specifically? Not, is she sleeping correctly? Not, what's her routine? Something is happening in that body at that hour reliably for years. Waking up at the same time every night isn't random. It's a pattern. Patterns have causes. Nobody treated it as information. They treated it as a habit. So by now, she's been at this for years. And when you keep coming back with nothing resolving, something starts to change in how you get looked at. So, next, have you considered that some of this might be health anxiety? So this is Betty, by the way, she was in her 7th year. She had a folder with her by then because she'd learned that nobody would have the last set of results. And somewhere in that 7 year, the fact that she kept coming back stopped being evidence that something was unresolved. And it started to become evidence about her. Think about what that does. The persistence is the diagnosis. The thing she did because nobody found the answer became the proof that there was no answer to find. Her advocacy for her own body was read back to her as a symptom, health anxiety. And it's unanswerable, right? That's the design of it. If she accepts that health anxiety diagnosis, she stops looking for the underlying root cause. If she pushes back, if she says, no, I really do think something is wrong, well, that's a symptom. And that's the thing itself. And there is no sentence she can say in that room with her doctor who now told her that she has health anxiety that actually improves her position. And what does it cost her? It costs her herself. You see, Betty started pre-editing. Before appointments, she'd decide which 2 symptoms to mention and which 4 to leave out, so she wouldn't seem like that patient. She'd rehearse it in the car. She'd downplay the severity of it on purpose so she'd be taken more seriously, which is, it's an insane thing they have to do. And she was doing it deliberately. So she got quieter and quieter about her own body every year. And the deepest cost, she stopped trusting her own read of her own body. She'd get a symptom And before she'd finished even noticing that she had a symptom, she'd argue herself out of it. Oh, you're being dramatic. It's probably nothing. Don't be that woman. 7 years, okay? 7 years of training herself to ignore her body's own signals. And again, the question nobody asked. What if the reason she keeps coming back is that the problem keeps being there? That's it. That's the whole question. The simplest explanation for a woman returning to the doctor's office for 7 years is that nothing has been resolved in 7 years. And nobody in that doctor's office had considered it. Now, eventually, you get the last one, which isn't a diagnosis at all. I mean, the doctor says, you've got 2 kids. You're working full time. This is just probably where you are right now in your life. You're 49, you're a mother, you're busy, you're stressed, you're getting older. All true, every word of it, and completely useless. Okay? The first 4 were at least testable. Wrong, they were wrong. Anxiety, depression, insomnia, health anxiety, they were wrong, but they were testable. And you could, in principle, you could check them. This one, like this is just the way it is, you're just getting older. This one can't be checked. It isn't a claim about the body at all. It's a claim about her circumstances. And you can't change her circumstances. So there's nothing to do with it, right? It's unfalsifiable and it's unfixable and it closes the case permanently. You can't argue with that. What's she supposed to say? No, actually, I'm not busy. She has 2 kids. She's 49 years old now. Okay. Every fact in the sentence is correct. It cost her the last of it because the other 4 at least implied that there was something happening. This one says nothing is happening. This is just a woman who's feeling her age. Everybody's tired, right? And that one sentence, everybody's tired, is where a lot of women stop. Not because they're convinced, but because there's nowhere left to go. She stopped booking appointments after that. And again, the question that nobody asked her, is this actually normal for her? Or has it just become familiar? Those aren't the same thing. Familiar means she's used to it. Normal means it's how her body is supposed to run. Nobody checked which one it was. They just assumed. So you have 5 labels: anxiety, depression, insomnia, health anxiety, and that's just your life. Go back through them with me. And don't look at whether they were right or wrong. Look at what kind of thing each one was. Anxiety described how her body felt, racing, wired, dread. Depression described how she felt, right? Flat, heavy, gone. Insomnia described what she wasn't doing, sleeping. Health anxiety described what she was doing, right? Coming back, asking the questions. And that's just your life described her circumstances. Busy, tired, 49. Every single one of them described how she felt. Not one of them explained why. And that's the whole thing. Betty's journey of 6 years, 5 labels, and every one was a description wearing a costume of an explanation. You're anxious tells you her heart was racing. It does not tell you why her heart was racing, why this woman's nervous system is firing at 3 a.m. every single night for 6 years. But it sounds like it does. And that's the trap. It sounds like an answer. And here's what happens the moment somebody has a name. Everybody stops looking for the real reason, including her. And that's the real cost of the wrong label. It's not the prescription. It's not the wasted years. It's that the name, right? Naming it ends the search. That diagnosis ended her search for figuring out what else was wrong. Being told nothing's wrong at least leaves a question that open. Being told the wrong thing closes it. Now, one more thing and I'll let you go. You see, they weren't wrong that she was exhausted. They weren't wrong that she was waking up at 3 or that she was flat or that she was anxious. Every one of those observations were accurate. They were wrong about which direction the arrow was pointing. They looked at a woman whose body was struggling and concluded that her mind was making her body feel that way. No one seriously considered that her body was doing something that was making her feel that way. Same facts, but now we reverse the arrow in the other direction. Completely different 6 years. So if you're sitting there with a diagnosis, with a name that you were given years ago, and you've been treating it faithfully, and you're still not right, I want to say one thing to you. The label might be accurate and still not be the answer. Those aren't the same thing, and nobody tells you that. You're allowed to accept the treatment and keep the question open. Keep looking for the underlying root cause. Find a practitioner who will walk through to find that other underlying root cause. And for her, for example, all of those different things that she was experiencing, they were all connected. And as we worked through and got to the underlying root cause for her, finally, because she was so tired of hiding that these things were going on for her, her life changed. Her energy came back. There was no more anxiety, no more depression. The whole health anxiety thing, that didn't exist anymore. She started sleeping at night. She released some weight. She felt good and confident about herself again, because in that whole process, she lost her confidence. She lost who she was because she was given a diagnosis. She was given a label without anybody looking to see what the underlying root cause of why that thing was happening. Remember, I tell you this over and over and over again, your body does everything on purpose. Everything. So a symptom that shows up is your body's own survival mechanism. The question we have to ask is, why is your body doing that? So that's what I've got for today. If this is the kind of thing you want more to, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's genuinely all I'm asking for. We got a new episode every week, and there are far more of these coming. So I'll see you next time. This is Dr. Z.
This is Dr. Z reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace your journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.